Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this second round of conferences. Today's afternoon session, we are in the second presentation of our speakers. For me, it's a pleasure to introduce each one of you. I'm Professor Plácida Victoria. I'm English Liaison Coordinator at Extensión Universitaria de Aguadulce. And we continue with the celebration of International Language Week that is celebrated from Monday, June 9th to Wednesday, June 11th, 2025 at the University Extension of Aguadulce. This year, the importance of the English language and its evolution will be recognized, as well as other topics of interest related to the language. Tribute will also be paid to the two great writers of world literature. They are William Shakespeare and Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. This day is organized as an international outreach activity in this academic unit with academic relevance that promotes a space for the exchange of experiences and knowledge through the English language. Due to the great importance of this activity, we will feature the participation of our second, third, and fourth year students of the bachelor's degree in English from Extensión Universitaria de Aguadulce and students of this program from Centro Regional Universitario de Cocle. At the international level, we will feature to Marianne Cogle, a university student of English from the State Pedagogical University-Moldova. Students will have the opportunity to interact with language professionals from this academic unit and the Veraguas Regional University Center. The International Language Week is held at the Aguadulce University Extension School under the liaison coordination of the Faculty of Humanities and the English Department, with the support of second, third, and fourth year students of the Bachelor of English program at this academic unit. This is one of the extensions activities that promote and extends the use of the English language in different areas of knowledge. Due to the nature of this activity, it will be broadcast on the University Extension School's YouTube channel at Space for International Academic Promotion, and through the Google Meet platform in the various presentations for those speakers who cannot be in person for their presentations. As general objective, we have to promote the exchange of knowledge and experiences in the language among professionals and students at the national and international levels, facilitating collaboration between professionals and students to enrich the understanding and application of the English language in various areas of the English language. The methodology in carrying out this international university extension activity, the second, third, and fourth year students are organized into different days and topics. Each group has its assigned responsibility in the scheduled program to present. The activity organization, second, third, and fourth year students of the bachelor's degree in English from the Aguadulce University Extension will present in person and virtually from classroom 1000. This activity will also be broadcast from the CDT of the Cocle Regional University Center on Tuesday morning according to the program. Our greatest debate for Magister Juliana Vasquez, who was in charge of making the connections with people from Moldova University, and thanks her, it is possible to have our student from English Career 2 in the presentation tomorrow session. Let's open the second round of conferences with our first speaker. She is from second level of English Career here at Extensión Universitaria de Aguadulce. She will share with you important and relevant information regarding to the Proto-Indo-European roots, exploring the ancient ancestral language of English and its connections to to other European and Indian languages. With you, the pleasure to introduce to Miss Alba Ortega. An applause for her, thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here at the conference, at the International Language Day Conference. Today I will be talking about the Proto-Indo-European roots exploring the ancient ancestor language of English. So, please next. Yeah, here I have my objective, understand what Proto-Indo-European is. The other one is explore the linguistic evolution from Pi to modern English. And the last one is identify Pi-derived elements in the English language. So here is our agenda for this presentation. We have the introduction, what is the Pro-Indo-European, historical evolution of English, linguistic future of Pi, Pi influence of English vocabulary, relevance of Pi in language study, and the last, the conclusion. So now I want to start, before I start, I want to ask you if you know something about this topic. No? Well, so don't worry, I'm here to explain that. So the Proto-Indo-European is considered the ancient linguistic and cultural ancestor language of many languages from Europe and part of Asia. So here, what is the Proto-Indo-European? So it's a hypothetical, reconstructed ancestral language. Why is a hypothetical? Because we don't know the guidance roots, the guidance words, sorry, the guidance records from this. So it's reconstructed using comparative linguistics. So also it's considered the root of many European and South Asian. So next, please. So here we have the Indo-European language family. So this basically is about the distribution, the history, and the branches. Some branches is from Germanic, Celtic, Italic, Slavic, Indo-Iranian, and others. So the English belongs to the West of Germanic branch, and the Pi is the common ancestor of all these branches. So here, I don't know if you can see, but here I have an example of the word mother. Mother in the Pro-Indo-European, it's the pronunciation is matter. Matter. Could you repeat? Matter. Yeah. So here we can see some similarities between Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. The word madre is the same. So other thing we have in English is mother. As you can see there, you can see in Dutch is mother. Mother. So, and the other, like Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian, is more, is the same word. So it's a connection. That's the part of the Pro-Indo-European roots. So next, please. So here has a timeline. So in the 400 BCE, started the Pro-Indo-European. Next, the Pro-Germanic in the 500 BCE. The Old English started in 450 to 1150 CE, and the Middle English is 1150 to 1500, and the Modern English started in 1500 to the present. So next. So the lexical example. Here the lexical roots, it's complicated. The grammar syntax from here is very complicated. So they contain nine nouns and three genders. So here we have examples like English word. We have mother, night, tree, and name. The pronunciation in Pi root is matter. The night is like noche in Spanish, but it's noche. And the other is tres, like in tree is trias. Trias is a tree. And name, the example in Pi root is nom, like nom. Yeah, like no. So that's his name, pronunciation in Pi roots. So the next, please. So some change Grimslaw. So the Grimslaw come from is also is a in linguistic. So the describe regular consonant shift from Pi to Proto-Germanic. In this case, we have an example like in Latin, P is in Latin and F in father. In Latin, you can see pater, like father, and in English is father. But as you know, father is same like padre. Is something similar. It's a combination of Latin and English, pater and father. So, and the other is a combination of Greek and English. So here, in Greek is T, like tres, is in Spanish is tres. So, and the other is three. The number 3 is our consonant. I know the phonetic is not easy. It's really complicated, so sorry if I make a mistake. So, the other, please. So here, why pi matters? Why pi matters? So, it's not only for our history. It's not only for English history. It's also to connect our history, our communication evolution in English, for example. So here we have helped linguistic understand language change, reveal shared cultural and historical links, and they highlight the deep root of English in ancient communication. So the other, please. So here I had a chart about the aspect, cultural legacy and linguistic legacy. So here we have the core innovation, religious and spiritual, technology, social organization, language family, grammar syntax, mythology, and other influence. So here in grammar syntax, we don't have a cultural legacy. We have the linguistic legacy, sorry. Here is the functional structural. For example, the other thing that I can show you is the vocabulary. The 50% of English words are from Pi. So the half percent of our language is from the Proto-Indo-Europeans, and the others are mixed from the other languages. So, as a conclusion, the Proto-Indo-European is not an academic concept. It is a window into the past. So, in my case, this topic was really frustrating and complicated, to be honest, because I don't like that in the past. It's in the past. Now I really appreciate that information because now I know something else about English, about our roots. So I could understand the English is really, it's a huge language, and we have a lot of things to learn through the career. So as my classmates know, I was really, really nervous because I feel anxiety, so that's things. So now, I'll be happy to answer any question may you have. No? So that's it? Do you want to answer? Okay. So thank you for your attention.
A great applause again for Ada, please. Wow. Let me tell you that I didn't perceive you were nervous. You were like a master giving this conference. Well, people, it was a great overview about Proto-Indo-European roots of English. And if you could notice, she illustrated, okay, different changes. And suddenly we took a look, okay, to the main contributions of these roots to the development of the English language. So now we have another speaker, with a very interesting topic, the arrival of the Anglo-Saxons, examining the Old English period and the Germanic tribes and shape the foundation of the language. We have the pleasure to introduce with you Daniel Ojo from second level English career at Extensión Universitaria de Aguadulce. Welcome, Daniel.
first, I need to mention that I feel so good to be here in this International Language Day conference. So my name is Daniel Ojo, and today I'm here to share with you my presentation about the Anglo-Saxons and the Old English period. So please enjoy. Next slide. Okay, here we have the objectives. The first objective is about to explore the arrival of the Anglo-Saxons because we want to know the beginning of this interesting history. After that, we have the second point that is about to understand the formation of the Old English, basically to understand the evolution of this language. And the third point is about show some examples of Old English because I know that you are interested about how the Old English used to sound. Well, the agenda, here we have the different topics that I will cover in the slides. First, the introduction, who were the Anglo-Saxons, why did they go to retain the Anglo-Saxon society, challenges in Christianity, the cultural and literary contributions, the development of Old English, the language influences, and Old English examples that are very interesting, also the conclusion and the references. So, introduction. When we talk about English, we know that we understand many aspects of this interesting language, but I realize that many people don't know like anything about the history about this language, basically about the evolution. So maybe I think you have heard in the past about the Anglo-Saxons. So they have a big history about the Old English period. So, next. So, who were the Anglo-Saxons? Basically, the Anglo-Saxons were a group of tribes who arrived to Britain after the fall of the Roman Empire. When we talk about the Anglo-Saxons, we have three groups to mention. First, we have the Anglos, the Saxons, and the Jutes. Maybe you are thinking about why in the title we have Anglo-Saxons and we don't have Jutes. This is simple to explain. This is because the Anglo-Saxons made a bigger change during the Anglo-Saxon period. So it is simple. Basically, they were more important than the Jutes. Next. But why did they go to Britain? Well, after the falling of the Roman Empire, and why that happened? Because the Roman Empire was powerful, but they started to have many problems like economical problems, military problems, a lot of conflicts, so they decided to leave the island. After that, the island was like vulnerable and unprotected, and the Celtic people who live there decided to claim for help to other groups. So the group that decided to help were the Anglo-Saxons. So they arrived to the island and they were like, oh, this island is interesting, it's different, maybe we should change the plans. So instead of help, they decide to conquer the island. So basically here, everything starts. So the Anglo-Saxon society, because we want to understand the structures and the social classes. This is very, very simple to explain. It's a typical society that you are imagining, like in the top, we have the king and his family, maybe stronger warriors. In the bottom, we have the less important people, like people who are not free. And in the middle, we have the most common type of person, like farmers, workers, the typical type of person in a society. So it was a simple social structure. The challenges in Christianity. Well, first about the Christianity, because one day the Latin people arrived to Britain and basically they changed everything. They introduced a new vocabulary and also they changed their artistic expression and basically they changed everything. But the most important or interesting point here is about the challenges. What were the challenges? The Anglo-Saxons had many Viking invasions. It was a difficult period basically, but it was interesting. The important thing here is that the Anglo-Saxons had the necessary things to confront the Viking invasions because we know that the Viking people were very dangerous group of people. Next. So, cultural and literary contributions. Well, first I need to mention the archaeological finds because people found different types of pottery from Germany and England. But the most important aspect here is about Beowulf. Beowulf is a poem. So until today is the most important find about the Anglo-Saxons period. Beowulf is basically a poem about heroism, monsters, and battles. So it's basically fiction, and it's very interesting actually. So the development of Old English. Okay, like I said, they conquered the island, the Anglo-Saxons. So after that, they start in the island. They start to create their own dialects. So first we have the West Saxon. The West Saxon was spoken in southern England. The Mercian was spoken in central England. The Northumbrian was spoken in southern England and southeastern Scotland, and the Celtic was spoken in southeastern England. Next. The language influences. So this part is very interesting. First, we have the Celtic influence. It's not like a big influence because they were basically the first group of people living in the island. So they had a short vocabulary, not extensive vocabulary, so it was the most simple type of English. Also, we have the Latin influence. Like I said, the Latin people arrived to the island and they introduced new vocabulary. For example, for school, I can mention the word about education. I can mention the word school, for example. About religion, the words bishop and altar. And about governance, I can mention the word council. And the Scandinavian influence, for me, is the most interesting actually, because I think that they influence a lot the language. They introduce words like sky, egg, husband, words that we use until today. Next. This is my favorite part, actually, the Old English examples, because I want to show you how it used to sound in the past. So I decided to take a little part of our Father. So in the current English, we say, Our Father who art in heaven. But in the Old English, the people used to say, Father for art in heaven. So basically, it sounds very different, and I think that you can realize about the Scandinavian influence. It sounds very different. Here I have other examples like hus, meaning house, hlaf, meaning bread, nama, meaning name, wif, meaning wife, neah, meaning near, and lufu, meaning love. So with this part, I think that you can realize about how different Old English used to be. Next. So in conclusion, I think that this topic is very interesting because it was a period full of changes. Because first we start with the most common or normal type of English that was not extensive. Also we have the introduction of the Christianity with the Latin people. After that, we have the introduction of the Scandinavian influences with the Viking invasions. So it was a very interesting period. For me, it's one of the most important periods of the Old English or the English in general. Also, I recommend to people here to search more information about this period and other periods because it's beautiful to learn more about the language that we are exploring right now. Next. So here the bibliography, these were all the references that I used, the journals, and also I used a video to understand the pronunciation of the Old English. So, thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much, Daniel. A great applause again for Daniel, people. Excellent, excellent presentation, Daniel. Can you imagine, people? This is second second level. Can you imagine when you are in fourth level, or when you defend your thesis, or when you participate this coming summer in the second international, not conference, Congress of Language and Research. I hope to have all of you with at least some research projects for you to present. A kind of activity like this, well, you will present and we will also give you your certificate for participation. Thank you so much. A very interesting topic, and I like the presentation of the example of Lord Pryor. Very good pronunciation. I could notice that you made a good effort in order to pronounce at that time. Okay, thank you, Daniel. Let's continue with another of our presenters. This afternoon session, we have the following topic: the influence of the Vikings, investigating the impact of Old Norse on English vocabulary and grammar. In this opportunity, we have the great honor to receive to our third speaker in the second round of conferences. This is Miss Genesis Bonilla. Please, a great applause for her. Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, audience. My name is Genesis, and today I'm going to present you an interesting and essential topic for understanding the history of the English language, the influence of the Vikings, specifically the impact of Old Norse on English vocabulary and grammar. But first, let me tell you the objective of this presentation: to understand the influence of Old Norse on the development of the English language, to identify modern English words with Old Norse origins, and to explore possible grammatical changes caused by Norse influence. And this is the agenda for today. I'm going to cover all of these points: content introduction, then content development. In this specific point, I'm going to explain you some specific topics about the topic in general. Content closing, my conclusion, and the last page is about references. Okay, we often believe that English is a language of British origins, but in reality it is a mix of cultural contexts and historical events. The Vikings were a powerful influence because they brought the language Old Norse to the British island over 1,000 years ago. It is estimated that today there are between 900 to 1,000 words that come from Old Norse, and in this moment is part of our daily communication because describe common objects and common actions. To begin, the Vikings originated in Scandinavia and started raiding in the British island in the late 8th century. Over time, these raids evolved into permanent settlements. One of the most influenced regions was the Danelaw, located in the north and east of England, as you can see in this picture. Here, Norse settlers had political and cultural control, which allowed for intense language contact between Norse and Anglo-Saxon population. As a result of this continuous interaction, a unique form of bilingualism emerged. This situation created a natural mix of expressions, vocabulary, and even grammatical structures. Next, it is important to know what is Old Norse. Old Norse was a Germanic language spoken by the Vikings. It included several dialects, for example, Eastern Norse spoken in Denmark and Sweden, and Western Norse spoken in Norway and Iceland. It was a very complex language like Latin and Old High German, with complex noun declensions and verb conjugation. However, Um, all Norse and all English share a common Germanic root. For this reason, it was possible to understand each other, and lexical borrowings became more common or more natural. Now let's see how these two languages interact, Old Norse and Old English. In areas such as the Danelaw, the structural similarities between Old Norse and Old English allows the communication to be more effective. Speakers then, over time, speakers began to borrow Norse word for everyday concept and for your everyday communication. This demonstrates the existence of a deep linguistics integration. More importantly, even fundamental elements of the language, such as pronouns and syntax, were affected. Okay, now I'm going to explain you. As I mentioned before, Old Norse gave hundred of words to the English language today, words we still use today in this moment. For example, in this chart you can see some of these words. Husband is one of these words and come from Old Norse husband. Sorry for my pronunciation in Old Norse. Actually, I don't know the correct pronunciation. Other word is window. This word is important because in Old Norse was bindauga and means wind eye, but this word evolved phonetically into, for example, vinda for wind and auga for O, and that form window. Other words was the day of the weeks. For example, Tuesday come from Nordic god Tu, and Wednesday come from Nordic god Guden or Odin, and Thursday come from god Nordic Thor, the god of the thunder, and Friday come from Nordic goddesses Frigg and Freya. The influence of the Old Norse not only affected the vocabulary, also affected the grammar. For example, one of the most notable changes was in personal pronouns. As you can see in this chart, this word in modern English replaced the Old English hi, him, and her. This grammatical replacement indicate a deep level of linguistic exchange. All others grammatical changes was in word order and syntax. For example, it helped to establish subject, verb, and object word order that is dominant in modern English, and encourage the use of auxiliary verbs in like to be in progressive tenses. For example, I am going. The Vikings start to use I am going for their daily communications. The impact of the Old Norse on the English language was notable. Many common words that come from them, for example, husband, give, and common verbs like take and call. This language contact between these two languages demonstrate that the English, how English changed over time. The importance of the Old Norse on the English language today is crucial because demonstrate how English pure language. It is a mix formed over 1,000 years ago. And in addition, all Norse contributions changed the vocabulary, grammar, regional dialects, pronouns, syntax. In conclusion, we as an English student, for us, it is important to understand all of these information and all of these topics because right now English is our second language. So for this reason, we need to know about all of these important information. And this is the reference for your. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Genesis Bonilla, for this interesting topic that you share with us in this afternoon session, this second round of conferences. Finally, we have our final speaker in this afternoon. She is also English student from second level. Her topic is the Norman Conquest and Middle English, analyzing the profound influence of French on English after 1066. With us we have Miss Erika Carrion. An applause for her.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to have the opportunity to present one of the most influential events in the history of the English language, the Norman Conquest and Middle English. This is our objective of this presentation is to analyze the influence of French on English after the Norman Conquest, to understand how this influence impacts the grammar, vocabulary, and use of the language, and recognize the importance of this period in the evolution of the modern English. And the agenda is content introduction, content development, content closing, conclusion, and reference. Introduction. Imagine waking up one day and discover that the language that shapes your identity for generations has been replaced by a foreign language. This is not a fictional story, but the reality faced by the Anglo-Saxons after the Norman Conquest, when the Norman was invited by the Normans, a people originally from northern of France. Not only was a new king imposed, but also a new language was introduced. And this is how Middle language was born, a transitional stage in which the language absorbed thousands of French words, losing many of its old grammatical forms, and began to take the form we know today. Historical context. After the King of England died without leaving any heir, there was a struggle for who would take the throne. It was the Battle of Hastings, in which William the Conqueror was victorious. He came from France, and after her victory, he was crowned king. From that moment, the Normans took control of the administration and began to impose their language in the court, the government, and the legal system. Meanwhile, Old English continued to be spoken by the common people. As a result, the two languages began to mix and English changed significantly, so this marked the beginning of Middle English. After the Norman Conquest, the English language profound transformation, especially in his vocabulary, because thousands of French words were integrated into English. For example, in the legal system, we find a strong influence with words like justice, crime, obligation, accused, among others. Also, it's interesting to see how this influence appears in food vocabulary because the name of live animals taken care for by the Anglo-Saxons stayed in Old English. For example, cow and pig. However, when these animals became in food on the tables, their name changed to French. French. For example, cow became in beef and sheep became in pork. And in terms of fashion, work like beauty, elegant styles also came from France. The influence of French on English even reached fields of art, architecture, medicines, and military, expanding the English vocabulary. Another important influence of French on English was in grammar. For example, the adjectives were sometimes after the nouns, like in this example, and also they stopped forming words using prefixes and suffixes as they did in Old English. And after losing many grammatical forms, English began using more prepositions, many of them borrowed from French. Old English also had a grammatical gender like masculine, feminine, and neuter, but after the Norman conquest, this system disappears and it was replaced by a simple system based on word meaning known as natural gender. The impact of the Norman conquest wasn't immediate. It was a slow process that took many years because for a long time English and French lived together, influenced each other, and gradually formed a new language. Today, more than 10,000 frames in English came from French, expanding the English vocabulary. In conclusion, the Norman conquest was a historic event that marked a before and after in the history of the English language. Throughout this presentation, we have seen how this influence not only established itself as a language of the high society, but also left a profound mark in the grammar, vocabulary, and use of the language. All of these show you that the language changed over time according to history and the people who speak it. Modern English is a result of centuries of mixing and adaptation, and knowing this history allows you to better understand the modern English and to recognize the everything our society has experienced. And this is the reference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Erika Carrion. A great applause. Very good preparation, long time studying, and these are the rewards. Okay, well, people, this is the last presentation of this second round of conferences, today's session. We appreciate your participation, and for those who did not present today and your turn is tomorrow, we hope you also contribute with wonderful experience of knowledge and also examples to illustrate to all of your classmates and also to the virtual audience that you will have tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. Thank you very much for being here, and I just want to say thanks God for this great opportunity to share with my students and also with the authorities that permit me to continue or to go ahead with this kind of activities. And we hope to continue working with you and other professionals in many more activities in the future. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow. Bye.